Every other drug came in and out of my story, but LSD and alcohol really kind of took that hold, and the lifestyle that I lived was basically like, like it was a show night, like it was a music venue every night. So I partied like it was the last night that the band was going to be in tour, on tour. It started getting worse and worse. So I mean, it was pretty steady up until I was 30, 29. It brought me to the point where I was able to say, it's time for me to actually accept help. That Christmas, the day after, I had crashed my car in Colorado, and in that 4-month period, the crash my car was due to having a detox seizure because my body didn't have alcohol in it. My body went to a detox seizure. I happened to be driving to go get a roommate, and my car I had a seizure and just veered off the side of the road, and luckily nobody was hurt. And then that didn't wake me up to stopping. It woke me up to like, oh shit, there's a problem here. My solution was I gotta drink and drive now, more. I had been drinking and driving for a long time. It wasn't like literally drinking while I was driving. I really don't remember going off the side of the road. I don't remember the ambulance ride. I don't remember. All I really do remember, it was very foggy. The seizure really drained me. I mean, I think that the car accident was really just a fender bender. Basically, there's no guardrails, and my car went off. It was like 100 feet. If I had been driving any faster, if I was on cruise control, it would have been a disaster. But my car was like 100 yards from going off a cliff down into, a ravine. So when I went to go pick up my car, the tow truck driver said, like, when this guy comes to pick up his car, I want to meet him. And he came back, he's like, I don't know, you have to be the luckiest person I've ever met. He's just like, I don't know how you survived. And there was really a fender bender. He's like, but you were 100 yards from going off a cliff that you wouldn't have come back from. And even then, wasn't really ready to say I'm done, and moved back home at 30, had nothing, and finally, one day I just said, I can't do this anymore. I was like, this is not going to get me anywhere, let alone it's going to kill me. And at my heart of hearts, that's not what I wanted out of life. The real turning point for me was when I woke up in the hospital and I looked up and there was a woman there who was about my age, and she was doing her job, and she was a nurse, and she had a ring on her finger, and she was living her life, and she was happy, and she happened to be absolutely a beautiful woman. And I was just like, I'm never going to get that if I keep doing this. Like, I'm never going to be able to have the opportunity for that type of life, or to meet that person or anything like that. Like, that was my turning point where I realized that I had to, do something differently. But then I was stuck because I couldn't do anything differently. My story isn't riddled with, abuse, of physical abuse or sexual abuse, or, even really intentional emotional abuse. My parents were and are good people that did the best they could, but they had their shortcomings, and that had its impact on our relationship and who I became. I needed to escape very early on. Not necessarily that my parents were bad, but there were expectations that I couldn't meet. I had a learning disability. I have a learning disability. That school was hard for me, and the mentality that my parents have of that 50s, pull yourself up by your bootstrap kind of thing really didn't work for me. I'm sensitive by nature. I am attuned. I have intuition, stuff like that. And I was very much in my body. My parents got me very much into sports, and they got me very much into socializing, and so that's really where I kind of excelled. And it wasn't in the school books, and then when you force school down somebody's throat and it doesn't work for them, then they try to escape. So I escaped to sports, I escaped to playground and stuff like that, playing with anybody that could, and when everybody else had to go and do homework, I would stay outside and shoot hoops, go for a bike ride or something like that. But I recognized that there was a connection to getting out of myself, getting high. I first heard about LSD when I was in DARE class in 5th grade. And it planted a seed, so when I first had a chance to take it, I did. And it was 9th grade, right before Thanksgiving break. So a kid in my 2nd period class had it, and I said I been looking forward to this day for a long time, and took it. So first day was tripping was in school, kind of boxed in. Really had no place to go except for go to my classes, and it wasn't the ideal setting. So I got home, and my sister was there, and she's just like, she saw a glow in my eyes that she had never seen before, and she asked me, she's like, who is she? I was like, who's who? And she was like, you must have met a girl, like you look like you're in love. The more we try to obtain something, the more we lose it. Same addict has the same problem. I want to get high. The more I chase the high, the worse it gets. Within 3 weeks, I was probably tripping every weekend. And once my parents found that out, they got me into treatment. And then, so I couldn't do that drug all the time, and LSD isn't one of those drugs that you can really kind of do all the time. I mean, I tried, and I did. But then alcohol came into my story, and that really, with some of my first early drinking experiences, it wasn't really that long since when I was drinking, Friday, Saturday, and then by the time I was a junior, it was just about every day. For me, the definition of trauma is anything that still stays with you. An experience that alters your life, and it's anything that still stays with you, positively or negatively. Addiction is really a trauma, so why not try trauma treatments?